So let everybody know who is DNA.
DNA is, go by Chris Leggett, but DNA is my model name. From Sacramento, California, and I am a plus-size model, entrepreneur, brand and promoting, CEO of my clothing line, CEO, have my own radio show called Straight Talk Radio, doing big things in this world.
There are a lot of plus-size activities out there, like club scenes and stuff like that?
Yes and no. On a regular basis, I would say no. But they do have some plus-size events that comes and goes around the time of the year, you know, like for holidays, either black or white parties, things like that. I'm trying to scratch up enough surface to make a change for the plus-size community so we can start having more regular activities.
So what made you want to step foot in the modeling scene?
That's a good question. One of the reasons is because I'm very well confident about my body. One of the reasons is because I had a lot of people tell me that I couldn't do certain things because of the size that I was. And after a while, you get tired of hearing people putting you down, people teasing you, calling you all certain types of names. They think you're easy over and things like that. So after a while, I just got tired of it, and I told myself that I know I'm pretty. I have the confidence, and I can make a difference. It's just all about how do I get out there and do it.
So was America's Top Model had any influence in you? Wanted to pursue your model dream?
Not really. I would watch a lot of plus-size models in the industry, and I give credit to all the plus-size models out there in the world and the different ethnicities. I don't have one in particular, but when I look at the different plus-size models out there in the world, everyone has their own unique style, their own unique flavor of doing things. So I just give it credit to all of them.
So how did you go about getting started? Like, did you reach out to other models for advice?
Well, I've been in and out of this business for over 20-something years. When I first started out, plus size wasn't even thought of at the time. Like I say, again, I received rejections that, you're too big, or you're not shaped a certain size, or you're not proportioned of what we were looking for, things like that. So after a while, I started to put modeling on the back burner. Back then, it was about who you know, but plus size wasn't really in. So I got hit with more rejections than what I was willing to face. So I put modeling down for a moment. I started to work on me. How can I better myself and my image? So I would base myself on what the world was looking for a plus-size model. And that didn't work. So I got hit even with more rejections. So I told myself that, I'm very photogenic, that I know things in the modeling industry has changed. So I have to really get out there and get my feet wet, start networking, start branding myself, and start mingling with people so I could figure out how do I go about doing this, what ways do I have to do to improve my image or the what I'm trying to portray in my modeling. Where do I want to go? Do I want to be a runway model? Do I want to print model, be a catalog model, or things to that nature? So I started putting my own image together, and I was given an opportunity a few years ago to when I moved to Sacramento to model for a plus-size clothing line, a store. And they actually put me in my first runway. Okay. I've been modeling with them for quite some time. From there, I went to someone reaching out to me, my very first photo shoot that I had, professional photo shoot that I had. I was given the opportunity to be a representative for his company, which was Plus Size in the City. So I'm also a Plus Size City rep for Sacramento, and it just went from there.
So as of right now, are you with the agency?
As of right now, no.
Okay.
Everything that I do is freelance.
Okay. That's cool.
I'm branding myself. I'm branding my daughter, and also brand me and my daughter as a plus-size mom and daughter team.
So how did you end up getting photographers to work with? I said, how did you end up getting photographers to work with?
Well, I was given another opportunity to work with an organization called BOPG, which stands for Big Old Pretty Girls. I was at a casting call for one of their up-and-coming fashion shows that they were having a few years back. And it just so happened the day of the casting call, I didn't know that they were going to be having a professional photo shoot going on at the time. So it was kind of funny is that the photographer that was there was like, you have it, but you're not bringing it. So it kind of didn't work out. He saw potential in me, but he was like, you're not bringing it for me to want to photograph you. And kind of hit kind of harsh. And then he was like, well, you know what, I want to give you another opportunity. I want you to, because, you know, sometimes it's if you're not comfortable with the photographer that you're working with, whether it's a male or female, sometimes you got to go outside the box and work with them one-on-one in order for them to capture what they see in you, or vice versa, for you to be comfortable enough to shoot with that person. He set me up with a photo shoot, and it's been sky's the limit since then, since day one.
Okay.
Brought him the look that he was looking for, and every time we shoot, I bring him a different look every time. So I'm that type of model that I want my own image. I want my own statement. I have my own swag. So when I step in front of that camera, can't nobody tell me nothing. I'm in my own world, my own space, and I own it, and I utilize it like no other.
That's what's up, most definitely. So who are some photographers that you work with so far?
I have a photographer I worked with, Karan Marshall of Marshall World Photography out here in Sacramento, California. I worked with a couple of other photographers. I had recently did a photo shoot for Napa Valley Stillistry, where we worked with a gang full of photographers that didn't have all their names. So that was a variety of different photographers. I worked with Michael Majestic. He's also another photographer out here in Sacramento. I worked with another photographer. His name is Kevin Johnson. That's locally out here in Sacramento. I worked with quite a few. I worked for photograph with Denton Mitchell. He's part of True Peak Entertainment Agency. That was through another casting call. So I worked with quite a few, and, you know, getting myself out there more and more to work with other photographers, male or females.
So what would you say to people that, like why should people do research when they're looking for a good photographer or a good modeling agency?
Well, I would definitely say you have to do a lot of research. You have to be aware because some people out there, there's a lot of scams that go on. You need to know, basically, research the company that you're thinking about going with or signing with. Look at their work. See if anybody has either photographed, use that person's services. Ask questions. The one main thing, especially when you're dealing with model agencies, is a lot of these agencies is not going to ask you for money up front. That's the main thing. Go on Google, do a lot of search, find out how long they've been in business. What would they offer you? If you can, sit down and try to consult and do a meeting with them to see exactly what they will provide you with if you do happen to have the opportunity to sign with that agency. It just all depends on what part of modeling you want to do.
So, doing your shoots, is there any good chemistry between you and the photographer?
I would say yes.
Okay.
What helps me with my shoots is you have to have some type of a good relationship with your photographer, especially if you're trying to create the images that you want and give him or her the look that they're looking for. Their vision may be different from your vision, or your visions can be the same. At the end of the day, whether you're paying for a photo shoot or not, you want to make sure that those images come out spectacular. You want to make sure that the time that was invested between you and that photographer was well worth the wait, and you're going to leave there knowing this is what you accomplished in order for him or her to come back and want to work with you again, whether it be, an individual or a group of photographers.
Do you ever get frustrated with trying to get a pose down pat, or do you knock it out in one shot?
I would say that's a yes or no. That's a yes or no. Sometimes, being a plus-size model, everyone is shaped differently. A lot of plus models may or may not be that flexible, depending on the concept of the shoot. If I know, say, like a couple of days or a couple of weeks prior, and they're looking for something specific, I'll try to master it down before we have the shoot. But sometimes it does get frustrating when they want you one way and you can't accomplish that specific pose, so then you have to maneuver it and do it another way, because sometimes it can be uncomfortable.
Okay. So how often do you go to a photo shoot?
At least either once a month or once every other month.
Okay, cool. So do you have a favorite spot we do shoots at? Like a scenery, good scenery?
Yes. I try to shoot different sceneries, different times of the day, different themes. I never want to shoot the same thing twice, unless there's an issue with, maybe the weather conditions or maybe wardrobe. But when I pick my shoots, I try to be very creative. I try to go with something that either hasn't been done or something very adventurous.
Okay. So what model and fashion events have you been featured in?
Well, I just did a Bay Area fashion show last month, which was through the CEO of Samantha Davis and Melinda Bell. They had orchestrated the first Bay Area fashion show in the Bay Area in California. I've been featured in quite a few fashion shows with BOPG, which is for Big Old Pretty Girls. I was in a fashion show last year in Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which was Queen of Curves. I've been in quite a few curvy ambassadors for different designers. It just depends. I can't remember all of them off the hand, but okay. That's the name of a few of them.
Okay, cool. So what would you tell your fans if they would like to know your purpose for being a plus-size model?
To never feel sorry for yourself. For if you know something that you want to do, don't let no one or anybody tell you that you can't do it. As long as you set your mind to it, you can accomplish anything that you want to do, whether you're a plus-size model or not. It's all about having the confidence, having that self-esteem, having the courage. At the end of the day, it's about what you want and about what you want to accomplish and what you want to have in life. Don't let anyone take it away from you. You control it. You own it. You deliver it.
So between you and other models that's out there, what makes you stand out more?
I'm different. I have as I said before, I have my own style. I have my own swag. I have that it factor. I have that personality that no matter what comes my way, I want to help other people that are out there struggling to become a plus-size model, whether they've been in the game for a long period of time, a short period of time, or they're just starting out and don't know where to go. I'm a people person, so I'm very determined. I inspire a lot of people. I motivate a lot of people. And I will want to be that one where, model or not, a person gets down on themselves, I'll be that person right there to come in and pick them up and let them know that they can do it. You just got to have that it factor, but you got to believe in yourself. I'm not down for negativity. Like I said, I believe we deal with that on a daily basis. Just dealing with society in this world, I don't have time for it. So I look at the positive notes of it. So anything that I see that I'm dealing with that's becoming a negative or has been thrown out there as a negative, I try to find a positive out of it. Because at the end of the day, that negativity does wear on you, and it does show on you, and it does affect you if you allow it.
I said, as of now, what are your feelings about the plus-size modeling scene?
Well, definitely plus size is taking over. I still believe that we get criticized, for certain things. We get discriminated, and this is just not towards BBWs. This is for BHMs as well. I feel that we have made a point and a stand to say that plus size is not going anywhere, but we still got to fight and deal with the negativity. We've come a long way, but we still have to prove ourselves when we shouldn't have to. There's still a lot of negativity that's out there as far as when you're dealing with in this industry, and we just need to find a way to deal with it so it will be better not only for myself that are experienced models or non-experienced models or aspiring models that's trying to get in the game, and keep it interesting, keep it creative, keep it positive, keep it going for the next person that's coming in.
So do you feel it's getting the recognition it deserves? Or we still
yes
have a long way? Okay.
Yes and no. I feel that we do get the recognition we deserve, but sometimes it's overrated. and some of the people and some of the things that should get recognized don't. And what I mean by that, whether you're talking about a designer, a hairstylist, an MUA, it could be the promotion, the event. So it has its pros and cons.
That would be my next question to you. What are the pros and cons of being in the business?
Of being in the business of being a model?
Yes.
Well, definitely, I would say, for pros, you get to travel, you get to meet new people, people person. It gives you opportunities to brand yourself, brand your name. It gives you that time of networking, whether it be with other models, male or female, teens, kids. It gets you out, it gets you noticed, hopefully to work with other photographers, male or females, hopefully to get known and seen with maybe signing up with a modeling agency. The cons comes in where that's where the negativity comes in. Depending on how you're conducting yourself behavior-wise, you have to, as a model, you have to have a certain image. You have to, know how to handle yourself when you're in social media, whether you be in social media or out of social media, because the world is looking at you. They want to see how you conduct yourself. They want to see, are you able to handle yourself when things don't go right, or you get put into something at the last minute. Are you able to handle that? How is your behavior conduct if something goes wrong or you get put in altercations? Are you able to handle yourself professionally, or are you just going to go off, whether it be verbal or physically? And that can hurt you in your career, because that will make it seem like you're a liability, or it'll make it seem like you're not professional or business etiquette, where nobody in the industry will want to work with you or take a chance with you, whether it was something minor or something major. So, and I've learned my do's and don'ts as far as when you're in the modeling scene, because you never know what event you may be in, who you may be working for, with a designer, who's out there besides the person you're working with, who else is out there in that modeling world that's looking at you. You never know. And it can either make you or break you.
Being in the scene already, have you met any good models, photographers, makeup artists, and other people like that?
Yes, I have. I've been involved and interact with a lot of different models, not so much males, but more female models, younger, older, and I've learned a lot in this industry as far as, hairstylists, makeup artists, wardrobes, things to prepare yourself for if, one thing doesn't go right and you have to have a backup plan. I've been very blessed since I've been back in the game to have worked with these ladies on improving my skills and the things that I do, and I try to give back for those who took their time, engage, and interact with me. I try to give that back, whether it's to them or the next person who advised me, that I inspire or motivate them to want to step out of their comfort zone and want to model, but they're dealing with, insecurities or don't know how to go about what to do to get in that zone that they need to be in order to accomplish that dream.
Okay. And you had mentioned earlier about male models. Is there a lot of male models, as far as big handsome male models out in the scene? Because I haven't seen any.
Me personally, since I've been back in the game, I haven't seen too many. I've met a few, but I haven't seen them on the spotlight. But in my profession of being in and out of the game, of plus-size modeling, I have seen a few. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why I have that Straight Talk radio show, is to find out where our BHMs are at, because they are out there, but there's no voice for them to come out. And I'm looking forward, hopefully in the future, to hopefully work with a male model and, share my experience and hopefully learn something from working with a male BHM experience, and hopefully collaborate something together that we could hit the runway or even be involved in a photo shoot. Because I think it makes a big statement. It's just not about BBWs. Like I said before, it's about BHMs, BBWs, plus-size teens, even the children nowadays. It's about all of us. Yeah. And everyone needs guidance somewhere, no matter what form of level of modeling that you've been doing. Somebody somewhere can always improve on something, and it's not that hard to do if somebody's willing to take the chance on you.
Yeah, because like a few years ago, I had started the Plus-Us site, but I was interviewing models, but I was trying to get some male models to be featured on the site. But I had a female that was doing the site with me, and she was trying to reach out to some male models, but it was hitting her back for the wrong reasons. So that didn't work out.
And sometimes, it could be intimidating. Not just for females, but it can be intimidating for males too. That's just like, take dating for instance. You can have a petite model who's interested in bigger men, but don't want to be seen with them in public. Yeah. But if they're behind the scene, it's all good and gravy. Get out there on the scene, they don't want to be seen with them. So I think it's same as with the BBWs. Everyone has a level of insecurity that they deal with. Whether it's their look, their appearance, their weight, how they dress, their makeup, their hair. It could be an inside thing, maybe their personality, maybe they battling self-esteem issues. It could be any of those levels. But if they're not seeing anything positive, they're not going to touch it, because they don't want to. One, they're not going to want to deal with failure. That goes for BBW or BHM, for anybody. Two, they don't want to feel like they're going to be embarrassed. And them two right there is I call a daredevil combination, especially when you're dealing with society, how it is now. Yeah. So they will have the tendency to stay behind the scene, because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be rejected. They don't want to be laughed at, or, and a lot of people can't deal with rejection that well. And then that's when it becomes a mind thing. So one of the purposes, I know this is kind of going off the grid a little bit, one of the purpose of my talk show is to I'm that voice behind the BBWs, and my co-host is the voice behind the BHMs. And I want to be able to bring that motivation, that inspiration, that I want to be able to bring those people out, whether it's male or female, who's been into modeling, still models, whatever they're dealing with, to be heard. Because as long as they still hiding behind closed doors, they're not going to be able to face those fears that's stopping them from conquering what they want to do or where they want to go. And if they don't do it or take upon of it now, they're not going to never be able to do it. No telling where your career might have went, whether you're doing modeling for a hobby, whether you're doing it as in a career, whether you're passing your experience down to someone else who may want to get into the game. You take a chance on everything you do in this modeling game. That's what I learned, whether you're dealing with people, networking, promoting yourself, trying to get with an agency, trying to get people to look at you, your looks, how you pose. Are you posing correctly? Doing the runway. Are you your runway techniques? Are they, what they're looking for? Your size and shape. It's all different type of, platforms we can go with this. But my thing of it is, I think there's a lot of BHMs out there who's just waiting to have somebody step into their shoes or step into that platform and just let them be heard. And I think until that happens, you're not going to see a lot of BHMs out there because they're struggling with the same thing that us BBWs struggle with.
Like being in the modeling scene, have you noticed any like dramatic negativity, like any drama?
Yes. Yes, that's all day, every day.
So that's coming from the models, or
that's coming from models, photographers, people you work with. To me, communication is one of the key points in modeling in this world. Being able to communicate, be able to, like I say, conduct yourself behavioral-wise to a certain extent. Make sure that you're a people person, because there is a lot of people out there, even in the modeling scene, that don't want to see you make it. Whether it be you going for the same, say, a part in a movie script or commercial. Maybe the photographer is looking for a certain look of a model, whether it's male or female. I've seen incidents where other models, say like at a casting call, got picked over them, even though they had the more experience than the other model did. I've seen where the designer and models didn't get along. Situation turned really ugly. I've seen where other models with models got into it for whatever reason, whether it's, you didn't do something right, you didn't do this at all, you should have did it this way, you could have did it that way, you don't deserve it. There is a lot of negativity. Instead of everybody working together to help one another, it gets to a point where everybody puts everybody down. And that's when people get attacked, their self-esteem, their confidence, and that sets a bad image for us plus-size models when you can't get along or handle things professionally, because then that censors you out. You could be the best that you can be, but if you got a terrible attitude, nobody is going to want to deal with you.
That's true.
Whether it's one of them top-notch corporation modeling agencies to a little small modeling agency. And I've learned that the hard way. So you have to, I always, keep an open mind, but also stay business adequate. And it doesn't matter whether you're on the camera or off the camera. When I open up my door every morning and I set my foot out in that world, I look at that world as my runway. You're going to have people staring at you, people looking at you. How you conduct yourself will determine how further you can go in this business. Because, like I say, it can either make you or it can break you.
But why do you feel that people hate so much?
That's a good question. I've been asking myself that for years, and I can never understand why. That's just like looking at another model, staring her up and down as to Why you think you look better than me? Yeah, I ask myself that question all the time, and I never can answer it to the point that I'm satisfied with the answer. I ask myself that question all the time. You know, like I said, I'm the type of person, I like to help people. Fortunately, a lot of things I had to learn on my own as a young lady. And the opportunities I come across and I give my daughter, I didn't have those opportunities when I was her age. You know, I had to fight for mine. I had to stand up on my own 2 feet, even more so, because I was labeled as, you know, teased as that fat kid, or that person didn't look right, and she's not blah, 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 and, you know, and after a while it gets tiresome. You get to the point where you want to shut yourself off from the world, and you start to become a hermit, because you let that outside crowd get so far into your mind to the point where it took over. And before you can do anything, you have to be in control of it, not let it be in control over you.
So let's talk about your show, Straight Talk Radio.
Yes.
How did you come up with the show?
Well, me and my co-host, we were talking, and he asked me, he said, there's one thing I noticed about you since I've been following you. He said, a lot of people watch you. And I said, what do you mean a lot of people watch me? He said, the way how your demeanor is. I see that a lot of people follow you because of your strength, how you motivate, how you inspire a lot of people, going by the comments that I receive on whether it's my photos or my postings on my social media. And he would always ask me, have you ever considered being on a talk show, or have you did any radio interviews and things like that? And I said, no. I thought about it, but I just never thought about doing it. And he wasn't the first person that approached me and asked me that. He was like, boy, you will make a good person, a spokesmodel. And I've been asked a couple of times to appear on a couple of radio shows, internet radio shows, and he said, you know what, you have this persona about you that, you know, every woman needs to see. And now let me tell you this, I'm not a public speaking person. I think that's one of the major things that I've battled in my life, is speaking in front of a huge audience. So I struggle with that on the daily. So the thought of me having my own radio show, I'm like, oh no, I couldn't do that. I'll be fumbling over my words, probably wouldn't say it right, or, you know, don't know what to expect type of things. You know, I wouldn't want to have no bleeps and blunders, and I'm on worldwide radio, you know what I mean? And he said, you need to give it some thought. And like I said, he wasn't the only one that had approached me and said, you need to do something with this. And so the more and more I thought about it, the more things I saw. Like I say, I manage my daughter, and I see the things that she deals with now, being in high school and just being a plus-size teen model. And it just made me want to drive even harder and more. And I said, you know what, I can't do this. You know, this is something that I'm always hearing BBW saying we don't have a voice. We don't have a voice that we can talk. We don't have our plus-size community. And I started thinking about it. And when I look at statistics, you're right, we don't have a plus-size community. We have a plus-size community, but where's all of our plus-size people?
Yeah.
You know, where's the voices to be heard of what we got to go through or what we got to deal with? How do we get into marketing ourselves? How do we get our feet wet, or anything like that? That goes for children, teens, men, and women. And the further and further more I started speaking to my co-host about it and my daughter. I just said, you know what? Yes, I can do this, and I'll be my own living witness. And so one thing led from there. We got the brainstorming, and next thing you know, my first show aired yesterday.
So what does your show focus on?
Basically, it's a show that's for the the plus size community. We tell the truth and nothing but the truth. It's a show that I wanted to create, where else for my BBWs, my BHMs, my teen or children would not be afraid to speak on certain topics that other radio stations are afraid to tackle or talk about. Whether it's self-esteem, confidence, suicide, depression, mental health, dealing with anxiety, and that's just a few topics, and etc. Relationships, and things like that. I wanted to create a platform where it's time for a show for younger plus-size ladies growing up. Certain plus-size young women that they don't have that voice that they can speak out to, or they feel they don't have that support that's needed, that they may need in order to get them started. I wanted to bring my motivation to the show that will inspire other models, male or females, around the world, and let them know that, promote that positiveness amongst women of color all around the world. I want to give them a message that I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. As long as God lets me be on this earth, I am that voice behind the plus-size community. When I think of plus-size, to me, plus-size does not have a limit, because everybody don't come in the same shape, form, size, height, or color. So to me, when I look at plus size, I look at it as unlimited, because everyone is going to have their own unique style and different ways of approaching things. So I want to give back to the community something that shouldn't have been taken away from us in the beginning.
Who did you feature yesterday?
I featured Sean Felder. He is he's a distributor for Excess Energy Drink.
Yeah, I know him.
That's featured out in the Bronx in New York. I had the pleasure of collaborating with him last year.
Okay.
Also being one of his models that was featured as a spokesmodel for his energy drink, and also was featured as April 2017 Model of the Month for Excess Energy Drink. And he's a person that, like I say, very driven, very hardworking, been in the business for quite some time, knows where he wants to go, don't let anybody stop him from doing what he wanted to do. And I wanted to bring him on the show to let people know that if you are dealing with certain struggles, trying to make it in this, in this world, that, hey, I'm bringing people on my show who's been there, done that, and you never know, something they might speak out or have experience might help someone else, but they're not being heard, or they're not given that chance to be heard. I also had, besides myself and my co-host, just a soft touch about what Straight Talk is about, elaborate on things that I will be bringing out in the near future, and hoping, building that those listeners to let them know that, hey, Straight Talk is here and we're not going anywhere. And neither is DNA.
Yeah, shout out to Sean. Yeah, I featured him in my magazine and the previous shows and stuff like that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And you never know. Hopefully I'd like to have you on my show.
Well, that'd be great. Definitely be great.
A man like yourself that are making moves and creating opportunities for plus-size models that feel that they need to, get out there. The one thing that I find very interesting is that it doesn't matter what city you're in, or state. Sometimes you have to go over and beyond outside of your jurisdiction of your residency just to be seen or heard, and or you may not have anything going on in your town, your local city or state that you're in for models, whereas it prevents you from traveling, or it prevents you from how do you get out there and get noticed. There's other things that you can do to get out there in the modeling world to get known. It's just the thing of it is, are you willing to take that chance? Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to put that time and effort and invest into yourself? Because like I tell people, and what I've learned being in this industry, you have to learn how to invest into yourself before you expect anybody else to invest in you. And that goes for investing in you, sponsoring you. It doesn't matter. If you can't invest or put time in for yourself, how you're expecting anyone else, corporation, to take you seriously.
That's true.
And that's what my platform of Straight Talk is about. But the main purpose is I'm that voice behind the plus-size community that wants to be heard, which is something, like I said before, I feel that the the plus-size community has been stripped from, that should never have been taken away.
So how can people get featured on your show?
Well, basically what they would need to do is submit a short bio. I would need 2 photos, prefer a full body shot, half body shot, or headshot. And they can submit that submission to straighttalkradio@gmail.com. I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter, and I'm also on IG for Instagram, all under Straight Talk, and it's STR, the number 8, TLK radio@gmail.com. Or you can always DM me through any one of the social medias. And if you're interested in being on the show, I send out the details as to what you will retrieve from being on the show. And if you're interested in wanting to be promoted, us branding your business or promoting you, I also do that as well.
Okay. So where could people check your show out at?
They could check me out every Wednesday evening, which is 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's on the West Coast. Of course, 7 to 9 on the East Coast. Every Wednesday, like I said, 5 to 7. If they ever want to call in to the show, the guest line number that they can call in would be area code 516-595-8118. And again, that area code is 516-595-8118. And we air every Wednesday night live, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Midwest Time, and 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. East Coast Time.
Okay. So do you plan on doing live? Well, you could do live video behind the scenes.
Yes, I do plan on doing that. Like I say, this show is pretty much a test run. I wanted to, kind of the first night introduce what Straight Talk was about. And my future accomplishments that I set forward to doing is doing live videos, getting out there, meeting people, instructing them on what they can do as far as trying to get into the modeling game, you know, try to create some kind of opportunities if they don't know. You know, if so, hopefully get special guests on the show so they can also, you know, put their expertise into it as well. Because, you know, some people are not as fortunate as others to do certain things. We do have merchandise out there that's custom made. So if you ever want to rock a Straight Talk Radio T-shirt or custom made hat, we have those available on the website as well. Like I said, you could DM me or DM Fatman, a.k.a. West Coast, on Facebook for pricing and information on that. So there's a lot of things that's going on and promoting videos and things like that. The one thing I want people to understand, my talk show is not promoting, you know, like rappers of the industry and music and things like that. My radio show consists more so on the plus-size community and trying to pick up where they cut us off. And that's for our BBWs, for our BHMs, for our plus-size teens, and also for the children. For any type of model that's trying to get into that game and don't know where to go, or trying to get their feet wet, or they're in the game and they're kind of stuck in a rut, don't know how to go about changing, or if you are in it and then got out of it but want to get back into it, because the game changes daily. I tell people the modeling game changes like clockwork, and you got to be able to adjust to that change if you want to get noticed in this business.
So where do you see yourself a few years from now, being in this business?
I would see myself on someone's live TV show and giving back to the community. You know, as I said before, helping others that are either not so fortunate or don't have the necessary tools that are needed to keep inspiring men, women, children of all ages that you're never too old to do anything you want to set your mind to. Be able to be that positive image that's needed in this game. I want to be able to, you know, help others. For people who have put big impacts in my life and mentors that I've came across, I want to be able to give that back to them, because I see that on the uprise, our plus-size community, in sort of fashion way, we kind of suffer a lot. And a lot of it is because either we don't know where to go, or we don't have anyone. And I want to be that person to be able to give them that, whether it's encouraging words, whether it be, you know, a compliment, whether it be support, whether it be, you know, a sit down and talk to. They just want to be heard. And that's the thing, not being heard. And it's causing a lot of friction.
So what other projects do you have going on?
Right now, as I stated, Straight Talk Radio. I have the merchandise. I have a clothing line that caters to plus-size men or women and children. It's called Unsigned Model Apparel.com. You can also go on the website for that. I have a couple of runway shows coming up that hopefully things work out. I will be involved in that. I've taken a little seat back for the remaining of the year to heal up due to some injuries that I suffered from a car accident last month. Me and my daughter was involved in. But going into the ending of 2018 is basically my daughter's time. I'm sitting back and and educating her and managing her on her modeling career and doing her things. It's her time to shine now. So stepping out with her on her photo shoots and uplifting her on her radio interviews and getting her out there as far as acting and being an advocate for her and giving her that support that she needs in her modeling career, and me and her taking off on mother and daughter dual team. And so, but I guarantee tell you, coming in 2019, DNA got something for you. And boy, you guys better watch out because it's going to be explosive. And I emphasize on that. They don't call me DNA for nothing.
Oh, boy, it sounds a little bit scary right there. People better run for cover.
Yes.
For real.
Yes. The one thing I try to do, Brian, is when I step out in front of that camera, that camera is like my man. So I'm going to do whatever it is I need to do when it comes to that camera to create that vision and that image that I want to see, whoever I photograph with, male or female photographer. And like I say, every time I step behind that camera, you would never catch me in the same outfit twice. It's always going to be a different look, different hairstyle, different images. Poses may come across maybe similar, but every single time I step behind that camera, no matter who's shooting me, you're going to get a different look. My pictures don't never look the same. And that's one thing about DNA. Her swag is different. Her swag is not the same like everybody else, and it's unique. And that's how I like to look at DNA. She's different from everybody else. It's not the platform that I created is not saying that I'm better than anybody else, because I'm not. But at the end of the day, I keep that positiveness going no matter what I get hit with. I keep that confidence level when it comes to dealing with the modeling industry and the people that I deal with, whether I work with them or I have worked with them in the past or the relationship don't go sour. No matter what gets thrown at me, at the end of the day, can nobody change DNA except for DNA? The name didn't get created for me for nothing. DNA, that acronym right there for me is very dangerous, it's very spontaneous, and it's explosive. And I guarantee tell you, I ended my photo shoot for 2018. I don't know if you've seen my cover on Facebook, but that was my last photo shoot for the year. But coming into 2019, I guarantee tell you it's gonna blow your head back. I put a lot of time and effort in anything and everything that I do. You know, I look at modeling as a learning game. I learn something new every day, whether it's my photo shoots, the do's and the don'ts, what different photographers look for. When you're dealing with modeling agencies, they don't always look for the same thing. They want a particular height, a particular size. Everybody's criteria is different in their requirements. I look at it, they want you to be a certain way. They want you to carry yourself a certain way. Me freelancing, like I say, gives me the opportunity to do a lot of things, meet new faces, interact with different people. I've had my shortcomings. I have my longcomings. The one thing I do know is that you do not burn your bridges, because you never know when you might have to call on that person for a favor or call on that person for advice or to help you out with something. You just never know.
So what advice do you have for upcoming models thinking that is an easy task to get in the modeling scene?
Do your research. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to to take a step out on faith. You know, the only way, you got to ask yourself, look in the mirror. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, ask yourself this question. Do you have the confidence to do what it takes to get in this modeling world? Do you have that it factor? Are you willing to devote the time into yourself that needs to be done to make it in this modeling industry? You know, are you positive about your body? Are you positive about how you look? Because those are the questions that either you will get asked or you will get put to the test when you step out there. They may not come out at you and ask you directly, but they're going to want to see how good you follow directions. So you have to have a certain confidence level about yourself. Don't be afraid to step out there on faith. The only way you're going to learn is by taking that chance. If you're not willing to take that chance, or you're scared, which everybody is scared of something, but if you're not willing to take that chance, then you're not going to make it in this game, because everything that you touch, everything that you walk on, you take a chance with, whether it's working with a corporation or working with somebody individually. You take a chance on everything, from runway to dealing with photographers, photo shoots, dealing with other models, different personalities. Like I say, it'll either make you or break you. But the one thing you got to look at is you look in that mirror and you love yourself. As long as you can do that, you can turn that light on and off and not have to worry about a thing. And, of course, always stay positive, no matter what.
So how can people reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook as Chris Leggett or Chrysanthia Leggett. I'm on IG, Instagram as dnaakathyckkakez. I'm on Twitter as Chris Leggett. You can hit me up on either one of those social medias, or you can always hit me up on Straight Talk Radio. I provided you the phone number. You can always call me. Like I say, my show airs every Wednesday night. Feel free. The email address again for Straight Talk is straighttalkradio@gmail.com. Send me an email inquiries. Either one of those social medias, they'll get a hold of me if they really want me.
So do you have any shout-outs?
Yes, I do. I wanted to give you a shout-out, first of all, for providing me the opportunity to be on your show. I've been watching you, and I see you have created a platform that I believe will take you very far into this game. I think it's a real honor to be featured on your show, as well as I'm pretty sure other people that's been featured on your show as well. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on to your show and be interviewed. I'm looking forward to seeing the other projects that you have future on down the road. I want to give a shout-out to Fat Man, a.k.a. West Coast, out there in Las Vegas, for being a true believer, especially the voice behind the BHMs. I'd like to give a shout-out to my daughter, Lady J, for just always inspiring me to go harder and harder each and every day, and just for God letting me being blessed to be here, seeing another day, and to make it as far as I have, dealing with the negativity that I deal with.